American Soccer League action. Tonight, the Washington Diplomats and the league-leading New York Cosmos. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Forney, along with Jimmy Hill. Tonight from Giant Stadium, the mecca of soccer in this country, to this point. Jimmy, hopefully, before too long, that will spread to areas like Washington, areas like Montreal, like Toronto. But for now, no doubt about it, this is the mecca of soccer in this country.
No doubt about it. They've had more success than anyone, both on the field and off the field. And until someone knocks them off their perch, that's the way it's going to remain. But a lot of people have got ambitions.
Well, the Cosmos got to get it going as they go into the playoffs, losing 3 in a row. Meanwhile, the Washington Diplomats have got to keep it going to get into the playoffs. And 2 men crucial tonight, Jimmy.
Yes, 2 young men, Clive Haywood, who came out from Coventry. There he is on the left of the screen there, blonde-haired boy. He'd had 1 league game in the English League only, and it took him a long while to get his chance here, but in the last few matches, he's shown that he's just the kind of striker needed for the NASL. He's got pace, he's got a few tricks on the 35-yard line, and he can score goals. And then there's Trevor Hebbard there, who had a bright start to the season, faded a little bit midway, but now is in absolutely outstanding form and is a most entertaining player to watch.
Speaking of form, the Cosmos are pretty much at full strength tonight. Chinaglia, he's as good as ever, and Romero is as good as ever, and the Diplomats finally getting almost everybody back to full strength.
Well, I think, Jim, that there have been encouraging signs in the last 2 or 3 matches. Trevor Hebbard, as I mentioned, has come back to form. We found another striker, Clive Haywood, who can add to the striking role. And the way I can see it, if we get to the playoffs, I can see us just knitting into form at the right time, maybe with Johan Cruyff coming back to that midfield position and Haywood and Hebbard moving up to form a joint striking partnership. Because poor old Ross Jenkins, as you know, as hard as he tries, and he's really a game boy in that, he's battling against lack of confidence. He never gives up, but he just can't score goals, and they're the things that strikers live on when it comes to confidence.
Jimmy, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and we will have time at halftime to talk about it. You mentioned Johan Cruyff, and we'll talk about it at halftime. Right now, let's get set for the opening kickoff. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. Well, Jimmy Hill, not quite the crowd that the Cosmos had been drawing through the early years of existence here. I suppose really apathy is set in now. Everybody expects the Cosmos to do so well. And really no one except Chicago this year has really challenged the Cosmos.
Yes, but it's a crowd we wouldn't mind in Washington at the moment, just to encourage everybody.
Well, you had one. You had one when the Cosmos played there, Jimmy.
We did, and it's hard to understand the difference between sort of 37,000 for Cosmos and about 8,500 for Chicago, because there's not that much difference in the performance of the teams nor the entertainment value.
Speaking of difference, there is one noticeable difference in the Diplomats lineup tonight, Jimmy.
Yes, Peter Carr comes back in. He's recovered from his groin strain, and Ross Jenkins is left out because you can almost see him struggling and trying to do it, but not quite able to make it up front at the moment. He's on the line, and what's happening, Trevor Hebbard and Clive Haywood will be striking up front. So Trevor Hebbard moves forward to join Clive Haywood. They're both fast. They both got ability to beat players, and I think it might be quite an interesting combination. Of course, Don Nardiello will move up alongside and use his pace to aid them when the opportunity arises, as will David Bradford there from midfield. And Peter Carr, although he's in midfield, is going to perform a defensive job in midfield with the resolute group as usual at the back. So that's the way we hope it'll work out, and let's see what happens.
Gordon Arrowsmith, the referee, you see him just about set to start tonight's match between the Cosmos and the Diplomats. Dips take the center half kick. In goal for the Cosmos to our left, Hubert Birkenmeier and Jim Brown in the nets for Washington to our right. Cosmos in control, and of course just masterful. We have world-class players at almost every position with the Cosmos. On the back line, that's Eskandarian for the Cosmos, almost a takeaway by Bradford, but Eskandarian turns it in the middle, and Roberto Cabanas moving through midfield for Bogusevic. Bogusevic on the left flank. This is Wegerle. The cross right in front, cleared away from Chinaglia by Benny Dargo. On the far touchline, it'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. So the game underway from Giant Stadium. Wim Rijsbergen, Bob Ederushi, Eskandarian, Jeff Durgan on the back line for the Cosmos. Here's Hibbard with a break on the left flank for the Washington Diplomats. Clive Haywood trying to find room in front, but the cross headed out of bounds by Eskandarian. But it'll set up a corner kick, right, Jimmy?
Yes, that was you know, the first sign of Hibbard playing as a front player, and it brought a corner from that cross. But Cosmos have also shown very early on what a talented side they are and how confident they are, despite the 3 losses in a row.
Bradford with the corner kick. It should be an in-swinger, and it goes to the far post. Headed up in the air, still up for grabs as Hibbard tries to chase it down, gets it at the near touchline. Trevor Hibbard plays it back for Peter Carr, playing in midfield tonight. Beautiful sweep pass on the far side, looking for Nardiello. Nardiello moves it on the flank for Benny Dargo, the right back, moving up on the attack. Into the hot box and just cleared on a sweeping, clearing boot by Ederushi. Midfield, almost a missed tackle, but Johan Nieskens comes up with it. Now Romero lays it out of the left flank. This is Nieskens. Now Cabanas brings it back to the near side. Eskandarian, the right back, moving inside the 35. Great ball control by the Cosmos. Into the hot box area, almost a high kick, and it's going to be called high kick. Dangerous play, free kick, Diplomats.
That was the courage of Peter Carr there, extraordinary. It could have been given dangerous play the other way, because he actually put his head down to a ball that could have been said to be foot high. You watch him now, there's courage, into the boot with his head. No fear there from Peter Carr, and no wonder he's had about 8 or 10 stitches in his face already this season.
But you say the call could have gone against Washington because Peter Carr created the dangerous situation.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think the ball coming off the AstroTurf was just high enough, really, to make it acceptable as a head-high ball.
Cosmos, this is the 4th game between these two teams. Good sliding tackle there by Franklin. Trevor Franklin playing on the back line with Malcolm Waldron, Heinz Wirtz, and Benny Dargo through midfield for the Diplomats. Peter Carr, David Bradford, David McGill. Up front, Trevor Hibbard, Clive Haywood, and Don Nardiello. Long striking ball for Chinaglia. Chinaglia right at the porch, and he was bottled up, sandwiched between 2 defenders. But it may have been an offside play.
That was a superb pass, that, to Chinaglia, and he controlled it. People sometimes say to me, what's he got except scoring goals? Well, he showed how dangerous he was in the way that he took that ball straight out of the air on the volley and put it perfectly in his path. Unfortunately, it bounced up just that little bit high, which gave the defenders a chance to get back in after that.
Final regular season home game coming up for the Washington Diplomats this coming Sunday, August 16, 2:30. Against Toronto, and it could be a key game, as all of them are now. This one, Toronto, and then Montreal left for the Diplomats to earn a spot in the playoffs. Nice cross to the far post, and Hibbard collides with Birkenmeier. Birkenmeier, if somebody would have been there for the garbage, Jimmy.
I think the ref has given, yes, I think he's given a free kick there. So if the garbage had been ready to be picked up, it wouldn't have counted.
Midfield, Eskandarian overran the ball. We'll have a throw in midfield for the Washington Diplomats. David McGill. He really has come into his own this season and has all the credentials to be a starter in the North American Soccer League, which is what he is with these Washington Diplomats. Charge from behind. Peter Carr called for the charge. It'll be free kick. Cosmos. Roberto Cabanas on the carpet, getting up slowly, but he's okay. Second leading scorer on the Cosmos team. We don't have to tell you who the leading scorer is.
He made the most of that, Jim, there to influence the referee, but you see how when he quickly got up and took the free kick, how that was all acting. And I just hate to see players do that. It's not, it doesn't go down well in England. Whatever the nationality of the player, injuries are bad enough when they do happen without feigning them for the sake of it.
Better said, though, perhaps you hate to see the referees being conned into it.
Yes.
Beautiful cross on the near side. This is Steve Wegerle, formerly the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and still playing with that bandaged left arm. Neeskins forward for Wegerle, and right on him was Trevor Franklin. Back to Escuderian. Short passing midfield as the Cosmos try to get the dominance at the midfield play, and they'll throw it back on the back line. Almost a steal by Clive Haywood. Kind of a lazy look on the back line. Almost a steal by Clive Haywood. Kind of a lazy lob pass by Jeff Durgan, one of the American players on the Cosmos. Trevor Franklin pushing off. It'll be free kick. Cosmos with a break in the action. No score. Washington and the Cosmos. This is Washington Diplomat Soccer.
Time stop the play. Good of him to stop the play just at that time.
No score, Washington and the Cosmos from Giant Stadium tonight. Earlier this season, a heartbreaking loss by the Diplomats here in New York. Jimmy?
Yes, it was indeed. I wasn't there. You were. You were really injured by that, savaged by that decision, and so were all the players and the coach, because there's no question about it that the player who scored, was it Chinaglia or... was it Chinaglia in that time? I mean, he scored by controlling the ball with his hand, whoever it was.
But I think it was Cabanas.
Cabanas, yeah.
David Bradford. And you can see the Cosmos have been together so long, and they have so much ability individually. Just a moment ago, you saw Cabanas just leaving a through ball go for Chinaglia, but give marks to the Washington defense. They weren't fooled by it and had Chinaglia covered. Jim Brown, goals against average 1.53. Birkenmeier at the other end of the field, goals against average 1.40. Is that as much a key stat in England as we make it to be here in the States, Jimmy?
No, I think goalkeepers are appreciated as much in England, but they don't go into a sort of statistical analysis as much of a goalkeeper's efforts. I mean, he's just there and he makes his saves and gets on with the game. But I'm not against it. I think it's quite interesting and fascinating, but it doesn't always reflect the ability of a goalkeeper.
It reflects the ability of the whole defensive unit.
That's absolutely right.
Here's a good chance by
Waldron, that was.
Waldron.
Yeah, unusually he, you would say, goofed it, but he didn't strike it in any way like he can do. And it was a chance. The ball was bouncing well for him, and he would be very disappointed with that. That was the first real chance of the match, I would say.
Cosmos with an overall record coming into the game of 21-8. The Diplomats are 14-15. Total goals scored so far, the Diplomats with 49, the Cosmos with 71. Heinz Wirtz with a good takeaway as he broke up from the back line, but it went for naught. Then Reisbergen, left defender, and look at him move up on the attack as he plays it back at midfield. David McGill breaks it up as a lob pass to Wegerle, not quite high enough, and McGill knotted the ball out of bounds. Throw in Cosmos. Jeff Durgan in for Wegerle, and the return to Durgan. Well, Wegerle didn't get all of that one. Out of bounds to Washington. Quickly into Clive Haywood. And an infraction. It'll be free kick, Washington. Trevor Franklin sweeps it in the middle for Peter Carr, who's got to be mighty happy to be back in action after sitting out a long time. Chip pass on the left flank. 3-on-3. The Cosmos on a run. Centers. Cabanas trying a little magic. Chips it left side. Jim Brown has the goal mouth covered. Chinaglia heads the cross into the back of the net, and it's 1-0 Cosmos. Well, Jim Brown had to commit himself. And with him out of it, it was a simple lob into the middle for Chinaglia. And for Giorgio, goal number 29 as he goes for one more. Puts his hand in the air, one more for 30.
Well, you can't give that kind of chance, really. The ball broke for them there, but what should have happened was the man in the middle, Chinaglia, covered instead of ball watching there. You can see he has a completely open goal. Now, that just doesn't happen in English League football. You do not get clean-cut chances in that situation, and I'm afraid that's been Washington's weakness all season when Eddie Cahoon's not been in the team, that they cannot defend from that position. And Jim Brown can't be expected to go out and take the whole of the goal, the whole of the area, as well as the goal itself. Is this
Here's a chance for McGill. McGill trying to get the left foot onto it, but just spun off the ball by Escuderian. And the Cosmos not out of danger yet as Peter Carr grabs off the clearing pass. Hibbard, good bit of magic there. Moves it on the right foot, chips it to the corner for Peter Carr. Here's the cross to the box and kicked across the end line. It'll be corner kick, Diplomats.
You can see what I was saying there, Jim, about Trevor Hibbard's form. That footwork there was as good as anything you see anywhere in the world, and I've said that before, and I'm not joking. He really is banging form at the moment, and the team is... here comes the corner now. They're pressing back very quickly to see if they can reduce that lead, having pretty well presented the Cosmos with a chance, but it's not to be from that corner.
Corner kick cleared out easily by the Cosmo defense. Nardiello. Goal is official. Giorgio Chinaglia, assisted by Julio Cesar Romero. At 9:34, time in the goal. McGill, bouncing shot, and Birkenmeier just flops to his right, smothers the ball to the goal line. 1-0, Cosmos leading the Diplomats. Reminder, special promotion this coming Sunday, August 16, the final home regular season game for the Diplomats against Toronto. And it'll be Fan Appreciation Day with Bell and Kodak and 7-Eleven Gym Bag Day. The first 5,000 people through the gate will get gym bags courtesy of 7-Eleven, and bring your camera and have lots of fun before, during, and after the game. Washington and Toronto this coming Sunday, August 16. Game time, 2:30. 1-0 game here at the moment. I suppose, Jimmy, when you did your projected analysis of the playoff chances for the Washington Diplomats, this is a game really in all practical aspects you've got to hope at best for a draw.
Well, there is no such thing as a draw under this system. But a tight game, yes, that we're in with a chance of it, Jim, would have been nice. But on the other hand, we've always done well. Oh, that was a very near, that little chip there from Bradford to the on-running Haywood. Almost right, but on grass it might have stayed for him, but on AstroTurf those balls bounce on and run away from the running forward. Does make a difference to the game, and it, I think, does favour the teams that have an AstroTurf service to play on. They get used to it. Each time the other teams come to it, they have to accustom themselves to it.
Here's a quick run through midfield by the Cosmo defender, Jeff Durgan. Durgan to Wegerle in the right corner. Steve Wegerle worked over by Trevor Franklin. Now gets help with Waldron. Out on top for Durgan. Durgan chips it into the middle, trying to turn on the shot, Cabanas, but cleared back out. And Hibbard has it upfield for Clive Haywood.
Look at him running through the middle
moving
now.
to the middle if Haywood can give it. Haywood does, but just a bit too far in front of Haywood. Well, almost a picture-perfect 1-2 there, Jimmy.
It really was. You could see Hebard streaking up the middle there, inviting the pass, and it was just a yard or so too far in front of him finally. But shows the determination of the team. I don't think they're letting anybody down in effort at the moment.
Nice ball.
Including Benny Dargle, who always gives 100%.
Benny Dargle's cross was blocked. Reisbergen moves it through the middle. Romero had it stopped off to Nardiello. Nardiello just couldn't get away from the sliding tackle from Jeff Durgan. Beautiful defensive play. Give credit where it's due. Now Haywood trying to turn back, but another sliding tackle on the carpet. And a trip there. It'll be, well, play on, says the referee. And play on does Romero. On the right side to Steve Wegerle. Trevor Franklin right on Wegerle. Wegerle turns it left side. Bogusevic lobs it forward off the chest, and a half volley shot wide of the goal. It'll be goal kick, Washington. A break in the action, the score. Cosmos 1, Washington nothing. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. One nothing Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. The goal by Chinaglia at 9:34 of this first half. David Bradford. The ball bounce away and Chinaglia grabs it off. Now to Romero. Romero, who set up the first goal to Chinaglia, tries to take it to the end line, but Jim Brown gobbles up the ball. After this game tonight, 2 more remaining for the Washington Diplomats as the rush for the playoffs continues. This Sunday against Toronto, and then a final game in Montreal. And Montreal at one time looked unbeatable for second place, but right now the Dips just 9 points behind Montreal. That's a win by 3 goals. Wegerle with the cross, blocked across the end line by Heinz Wirtz. It'll be corner kick Cosmos. First corner for the Cosmos, and we'll see how they handle this one. Bogusevic taking the corner from the near side. Jim Brown protecting the far post, and it goes right to the far post, and Jim Brown bats it away over the end line. It'll be corner kick once again. Reminder for group sales, call 544-KICK Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's group sales, and perhaps a group gang getting together for the final regular season game against Toronto this Sunday. Call that number, get extra discounts. Jim Brown again bats it away, bouncing around, loose ball, and Brown is there. At the right spot, fortunately for Jim Brown, he was out of the play, flat on his back, and the ball just bouncing around at his midsection, and he grabbed it like the old hot potato. Slowly through midfield, the Diplomats needing a goal to get back in this one. David Bradford gets movement from McGill up front, now gives it to McGill. Bouncing and offside, says the linesman on the far side, Patrick McKeary. Free kick, Cosmos. Roberto Cabanas moving it to his own 35, widens it to Wim Reisbergen. All these names would be familiar to European soccer fans, Jimmy?
Yes, they would. And South American, you know, a wide variety of countries, and of course to World Cup final fans as well. Naskins, of course, was in the Dutch team, you know, that
beautiful tip pass. Bogusevic at the goal line. Here's the cross to the open space, and Benny Dargo, not knowing who was behind him or where, just dives at the ball and nods it across the end line. But the Cosmos going for the kill at this moment.
Yes, they're very good in this position on the line to make sure that the cross counts. You see how hard he worked on that ball with his left foot to get it over and put it in that dangerous position. And well defended there by Benny Dargo, but it was hard work to make the skills succeed.
Bogey goes to the near post this time. Ball lobbed high in the air. Jim Brown punched it not all the way clear. Benny Dargo now just kicks it to midfield. Then Reisbergen back for the Cosmos. Long leading pass, and Jim Brown couldn't stop that one. A beautiful volley shot by Cabanas. Nothing you can do about that, Jimmy.
No, that was a superb goal. A beautiful volley there. Perfectly taken, but it was a cross ball flicked on, the same ball in the air where we seem to panic and go frozen in our movements. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Eddie Cahoon switched into the team now. He's on the line there. He's fit after his shoulder injury, but just let's watch that goal. The ball was flicked up there. I think that was Reisbergen. There's, you see, a weak header which gave them the chance. And that was a lovely volley. Beautiful left foot volley, but it was a weak defensive header that gave him the chance to score the goal, and he took it beautifully.
So it's 2-0 Cosmos. Chinaglia and Cabanas for the Cosmos, and the two leading scorers. Chinaglia with goal number 29, Cabanas with goal number 16 on the season for the Cosmos. 2-0. Cosmos over Washington. You're right, Eddie Colhoun back fit and on the bench. He's available tonight, and you're probably right, Jimmy. Before the game gets out of hand, I would think they try and bring on Eddie Colhoun. No problem as Waldron boxes off Chinaglia, lets the ball roll for Jim Brown. Now to Dunn Nardiello. To Haywood. Haywood trying to roll off Jeff Durgan. Durgan blocked him off. Played back midfield to David Bradford. Bradford to Nardiello. Nardiello looking for the open man. Nardiello, Bradford, beautiful ball and a score right there by the Washington Diplomats. And it is okay, no
Heinz
flags.
Wirtz, I think.
Heinz Wirtz, yes.
A lovely bit of play there between Nardiello, a lovely first-time ball. And it was as coolly taken as was the Cabanas one. So no grumble there. And that is 1 point, and points are very vital. There's the man, Heinz Wirtz, the scorer. There's the move coming up now. Nardiello holds the ball there for a moment, starts the move going, a little wall pass, can't quite see who that was, probably David Bradford, and there it is on the volley. Beautifully timed run from behind the offside line. Came from behind the last defender to time his run with the pass, and that was just as good as Cosmos, and the score 2-1 with a point to Diplomats.
Back into a game once again. I want to remind you, for individual ticket sales, call Sports Charge at 350-2100 Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's for individual ticket sales, and that, of course, would mean for this coming game Sunday against Toronto. Call 350-2100 Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Cosmos stung by the goal, and it was Bradford who set it up for Wirtz. 2-1. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. Escuderian chips it to the far side, trapping it nicely off the chest. Bogusevic. Now to Romero, working the corner, but cleared away from him. Midfield, Clive Haywood. Haywood tripped by Durgan, and it should be free kick. Will be free kick, Washington. With a break in the action, the score. Cosmos 2, Washington 1. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer.
I think they've given the assist to Nardiello, whoever did that pass, but it was the actual pass. He's hurting there. I was giving it the other way. An extraordinary decision.
Yeah, they say Nardiello, but I'm sure they'll add, it was Bradford.
Well, they get up on the scoreboard. They've done it officially, but was that Bradford? Did you see on that?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was him.
It was Nardiello to Bradford.
Nardiello, Bradford.
Yeah.
I think it might have been offside. I think that line was asleep.
Yes, that's why I was looking for a flag.
Yeah. I mean, although I talked about a well-timed run, we can bring that up again, you know, and see if we can see it. It was one of those that if it had gone the other way, wouldn't have grounded about.
.21.5 minutes remaining, first half. Cosmos 2, Washington 1, and it's cranking up to be a pretty good ball game tonight from Giant Stadium. Steve Wegerle in a beautiful takeaway by the young man that got us into the game, Heinz Wirtz. Wirtz pass, knocked aside, dangerous. Wegerle
nearly got us out of it again.
Really. Now Bogusevic. Bogusevic, wall pass, Cabanas to Chinaglia. Chinaglia trying to get it on the left foot, punches it forward. Bogusevic to Cabanas, and cleared out by Trevor Franklin. Reisbergen on the carpet to Chinaglia, who won at number 30 as he went for the bouncing half volley, but no goal there as Jim Brown will put the ball back in play.
Heinz there committed the cardinal defensive sin. He did a beautiful bit of play to get it off the opposition and immediately gave it them straight back in that area from where you can't recover, really. If you give the ball away then, when your teammates are expecting a pass to them, sometimes it's in the back of your net before you can turn around. So fortunately we got away with that. And Heinz deserved his luck for getting that opening goal for the Dips.
Nardiello. Now Benny Dargo. Chip pass over the defense of the Cosmos, and trapped on the outside was Nardiello. It'll be free kick Cosmos. And
the Cosmos crowd there, ironically, cheering that linesman because he gave that decision. They have a feeling that the run by Heinz Wirtz was offside, and I must say that it's one of those that would be looked upon as very tight. If I were asked to raise my right hand and say was it offside or not at this moment, I'd say I would have to say it was offside. But it's time one of those broke for us, Jim.
We'll see again at halftime that goal by Heinz Wirtz. It was a hairline decision, offside or no, and again, as we'll point out at halftime, Jimmy, it's when that ball is played.
Is the time. It was a very good run, whichever way you look at it. He came from behind to start with, but whether at the moment the ball went, he was level with the last defender, which is offside, of course, we shall have to have a look and see. But it makes no difference now. It's 2-1 there officially, and whatever they say. They've given Nardiello the assist for that goal, but I think it was the pass from David Bradford that was the final pass that really made it.
I think they'll add Bradford. Nardiello certainly should get an assist, but I think it was Bradford that had the final lob pass to Wirtz, who was on the run right to the porch. And
when people talk about North American soccer, you know, I see most of my soccer in Europe, of course, and both of those goals were high-quality goals. The Cosmos goal and the other one, beautiful volleys, giving the goalkeepers no chance at all, and as good as any soccer you'd see anywhere. And I think it's as well for people to appreciate that although maybe not over 90 minutes is it quite World Cup standard, you know, for flashes the game can reach a very, very high standard here.
You can just sense the fans waiting every time for Chinaglia to get the ball, and almost got it there, but Bradford anticipating, stepped in front, took it away. Now Trevor Hebert. Good bit of work there, and a beautiful
You see, that passing, Jim, is just what I'm talking about. From the Dips, high-quality play.
Now here's a good chance. Haywood at the corner, the cross, and the men are there, but Birkenmeier dives in front of the pass and grabs it off. Elsewhere in the NASL in the first half, Tampa Bay leads Atlanta 1-0 on an own goal, and what a big win the Dips had over Atlanta.
That's not good news. That's not good news, Jim, because we want Tampa to lose tonight because they're one of the teams in contention for the wild card places. But there's a long way to go yet. 1-0 on an own goal isn't conclusive.
Neither is a 2-1 lead by the Cosmos with 17.5 minutes remaining first half. Hebert at midfield grabs off an errant Cosmo pass. Let's see if Hebert can make something out of nothing at the moment. Now to McGill. McGill waiting, looking, moves it on the right foot. Then left foot curls it nicely right in the middle for Peter Carr. Sliding tackle, has the ball away from Carr. And the Cosmos break it back. Roberto Cabanas, who had as gritty a goal as you'll see anywhere, that full volley shot, and we'll see it again. Dangerous now, Cosmos. Romero tried to balloon one and taken away by the Dips. David Bradford for Washington. Widens it on the far side, and we have Hebert and Haywood up front. Let's see if they can chip it through. Oh, Hebert was with the ball, and then McGill and Haywood were up front. Now the Cosmos. There's a good flow of the game, Jimmy, up and down.
Yes, there's a good flow, and it's a very pleasant setting, a lovely stadium, an evening to be enjoyed, really.
Neeskens leaving at midfield for Elarushi. Long crossfield pass, and Nardiello gets the foot high. Dangerous play. It'll be free kick Cosmos. They take it quickly. At the left corner, trying for the cross. It's blocked. Now the chip right to the hot box area. Bounces off the shoulder of Wegerle. Could have been close to a handball, and then to the feet of Jim Brown. Kicked across the end line. It'll be corner kick.
He's injured his own player there. He's injured Malcolm Waldron. They both, three players at the end, went for that ball, and he's got a nasty pain on the shin. You can see him holding it there. That's, I think, Jim Brown's shoulder that hit that. It just shows a weakness that the Dips haven't been able to cure, a sense of panic when the ball is high in their goal mouth. And we've talked about it before. If one was going to improve the team for next season, we would need an orthodox number 5, a strong heading player to take over from Eddie Cahoon. And neither Heinz Wirtz nor Malcolm Waldron are number 5, pure and simple, outstanding headers of the ball. They both play supporting roles in defence. So that has been a weakness, and it's put extra pressure on Jim Brown, and you could see the three of them there panicking as they went for that ball. All of that panic caused, as was the first goal and the second goal against the Dips, by being frightened in the air. You can see, look, there's no one anywhere near them, but because the ball was up high to start with, they get a sense of panic. If people attack on the ground against them, they keep calm, but in the air, as this corner's going to be, sometimes they get into the horrors, which is an Irish expression I once heard describe it.
In the air, right to the goal mouth, indeed, and Waldron did get the head on at that time, then knocked out of bounds midfield by Nardiello. Wegerle, with the bandaged left arm, still managed to tosses the ball in and taken away nicely. Hebert has Nardiello moving up the left flank, but turns it in the middle for Bradford. Peter Carr wide open on the far side. In across the 35, giving a look. Finds McGill. He lost it, but Bradford following up. Quick shot, and just tapped over the crossbar, or it hit the crossbar and over. It'll be goal kick. Cosmos. Camp, get your kicks. The final camp of the season at RFK Stadium, August 18 through the 21st. Call 544. Kick for details. Want to learn soccer from the pros? You can learn it from the Diplomats and right in RFK Stadium. If I'm going to a camp, that's the one I want to go to, Jimmy. Reisbergen nods the ball back to his fellow defender. Now to Jeff Durgan. 2-1. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. Cosmos got 2 quick ones, but Heinz Wirtz came back to get the Diplomats on the scoreboard. Escuderian overlapping on the far side, chips into the middle, right to the feet of Cabanas. Ball bouncing around, still up for grabs, and Chinaglia has it. Now Bradford skips in, gets the ball loose, but it's back to Reisbergen. This is Neeskens. Neeskens to Chinaglia, to Wegerle. Wegerle takes it to the end line, still controls, looking for the chip cross, over the crossbar. It'll be goal kick. Washington, a break in the action, the score. Cosmos 2, Washington 1. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. Two to one, Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. 12:40 remaining first half of play, and it's been good flow up and down. Cosmos having by far the better chances, but the Diplomats continue to work, and it paid off not too long ago when Heinz Wirtz got the goal. And maybe a little bit of contempt on the part of the Cosmos, getting a little too cute, and almost a break there. That can happen, Jimmy.
Yes, it can. I think they've always been inclined to give away goals, but they are supremely confident in their ability to come back again and score more than their opponents. And I wouldn't mind that attitude tonight, because oh, there's a header.
And the header just to the post, knocked down on the first bounce by Birkenmeier. Beautiful lead pass by Heinz Wirtz. Wirtz playing a good game.
And David McGill getting more and more confident at stealing into those positions from where he might get a chance to pop at goal, either with the head or the foot.
Haywood trying to nod it to Hebert, but taken back by the Cosmos, and Escuderia has it through midfield, and Romero knocked away nicely by the Diplomats. Hebert widens it far side for Nardiello. Hebert on the run, Escuderian with him as Nardiello takes a look to see who's in the box. Where does he want to drop this pass? Well, he's going to take it to the box and then lost it. I thought for sure a foul was coming up. That happens so often when a player makes a mistake, loses the ball, and turns around, and boom, there's a foul. Peter Carr now to McGill. McGill ran into Neeskens. And
interesting to see that battle there, Jim, between a player from the Dutch World Cup sort of final team against a guy who walked into the ground for a trial in Detroit last year, playing against each other in North America. That's one of the fascinations of the NASL. And David McGill not overawed by him, in fact wanting to come up to that standard.
And that's got to be the mark of soccer in this country, Jimmy, when American-born players get the opportunity to play against the best in the world, as is the case right here. 2-13s. Good play by Benny Dargo. Talking about American-born.
For once, we didn't panic in the air either with an American-born player. That is the sign of the future. They've got to learn from the best players in the world and produce that in themselves as the years go on. And that is, no question about it, it's totally possible. It's part of evolution. But patience, a little patience is needed.
Steve Wegerle from South Africa, as we talked about the international flavor of the Cosmos. And across the touchline, it'll be throw-in Washington. For playoff tickets, call Sports Charge at 350-2100 or any Capital Center outlet. That's playoff tickets, and let's hope before sundown this Sunday, a playoff spot could be locked up. That game Sunday against Toronto ever so important, as is this game tonight, and certainly not without the realm of probability. 9 minutes remaining, first half of play, 2-1. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats as Waldron busts one upfield. Hebert trying to control on the carpet, has control. Now Hebert trying to maneuver for passing room, draws it back nicely away from Neeskens. Again, here's Neeskens, world-class player. And look at him run all over the field. I don't know if that's world-class.
Well, Trevor Hebert, some of the confidence rubbed off on him to the rest of the Dips there, and it was good to see them showing style and composure, showing that they can do it, as they have done it a fair number of occasions this season. What about that goal?
Almost. McGill again really finding the opening spot.
I think that was Haywood that time.
Oh, yes, it was.
So difficult to distinguish those two with the blonde hair, same sort of physical appearance, and especially now David McGill's getting into that position very often.
You're right, but it was Haywood that time, and when had that been magic, to have a tie ball game by halftime? Still could be. 8 minutes remaining, 2-1 Cosmos. Let's watch the Cosmos go to work. Ederishi forward line looking for Chinaglia. Chinaglia knew he had no chance, so he just left Washington handle the ball, hoping for a mistake. And Chinaglia with 29 goals, and I bet half of those have come off mistakes by the defense. Hits the corner flag. Did it go across the end line or the touch line? End line. Corner kick, Cosmos.
Loose play there by Peter Carr. He shouldn't have given away a corner. If he'd worked harder on that ball, he could have made it a throw-in at least with his left foot. Just let it slip off the edge there, and they're paying for it now with the corner kick coming over.
Going to the corner post. Near post, rather. Then nodded to the porch. Up in the air, dangerous. Jim Brown bouncing around, headed off the goal post.
They panic in that position in a way that you can't believe, Jim. You could see they almost shut their eyes and go for the ball when it's up high. And it is a basic weakness. It's been there for some time, and their nerves seem to be making it worse at this stage of the season. It's such a pity, because without that, I think they can compare with any team in the league and not be sure that they can be beaten. But it's something, a little bit of remedial work needs to be done between here and next season. Maybe between here and the playoffs.
The free kick for Washington came on a foul against the Cosmos in that jam up at the goal line. Reisbergen turns it to Eskandarian. Eskandarian has Neeskens on the right flank. Neeskens goes for the home run ball right to the goal mouth, and Jim Brown grabs off the nodder from Chinaglia. That's pretty to watch, Jimmy. That's soccer.
Pretty to watch unless you're a coach of the defending side there, because you don't like to see players beaten in the ball. But it was, it was a hopeful cross there, but you can see when it comes to jumping and getting elevation and height that the other side are ahead of us in that aspect of the game, Jim, and that's why that chance occurred, but not in goalkeeping, because Jim Brown was equal to it.
Hebard for Washington. Nardiello on the right flank. Nods it nicely. This is McGill back to Nardiello. Nardiello turns it to the goal mouth. Nobody there but white-shirted Cosmos. Now a lob shot wide of the goal. It'll be goal kick, Cosmos. Almost a takeaway by Nardiello. And Nardiello wanted the foul for interference. But the Cosmos break it to midfield. And a steal again. Nardiello turns it and steered to the goal mouth at the play offside.
He was offside. He'd be a very courageous linesman if he kept his flag down there, because it's the same one.
That did not raise the flag on the Verts goal, which we'll take a look at halftime.
It was offside. He was offside, I think.
The first one?
Oh, not the Verts. Well, yeah, I think they were both offside. Yeah, that was. And
Romero with great speed, but he's been covered by Benny Dargo perfectly so far tonight. Trevor Franklin at the goal line lets it bounce across the goal line, setting up a orbit shot for Jim Brown. 4:20 remaining first half.
Difficult decision for Coach Furphy to make, because Eddie Cahoon has had a separated shoulder, and it's a nasty, painful injury, and he would be keen to be on, but it is something of a risk, and the players that are on are fully fit. But on the other hand, Cosmos know that the worry that those high crosses cause, and they've not been slow to pop them over when the opportunities have risen.
An elbow caught, I think it's McGill, right square on the nose, and he's right at the midfield circle in a great deal of pain. You can see him. Referee didn't see it, or just thought it was an accident, perhaps. Now Hebard racing to the goal line, giving chase. Eskandarian knocked it away across the touchline, off of, well, they say off of.
Defender did well there, you see. Just let Trevor Hebard sort of get the ball down and timed his tackle at exactly the right moment. Let him struggle for control, and then just timed his approach and tackle at the ball. And he ended up by getting a throw-in as a result of it, as a bonus.
Now Lally takes a look at McGill. Both players had gone up in the air to control an air ball, and I don't know who it was, but I could see that McGill got an elbow square on the nose.
Yes, it can happen accidentally in the game, Matt. It's not a game for girls, but it's also not a game, as you know, where the object of the game is to be violent to the opponent. It is to go and get the ball and win it. And I think it has that advantage over some other type of physical contact games. The object of the player's attention is the ball. But sometimes in going for the ball, they collide with each other, which is inevitable.
It's not McGill. I think it's Haywood. And that's understandable since I've been confusing them all season long, haven't I?
Yeah.
Haywood it is.
He was keeping his face and his number covered, Jim, while he was writhing in agony on the floor there, but he's okay now.
3:39 remaining first half. Cosmos 2, Washington 1. Every game between these two teams this year have been nip and tuck right to the end. I don't think there's been more than a goal difference.
That's right. I was just wondering if one or two Dip supporters might have gone off to bed when it was 2-0 down, thinking it was going to be a painful evening. But let's hope they came back to put the cat out and realised that we got that other goal and it was still worth staying up to maybe savour a victory at the end of the day.
Well, of interest to Washington Diplomat fans will be from here to the end, and obviously Cosmos fans feel the same way, because I don't think there was more than 20,000 here when the game started, but now the stadium is beginning to fill up.
Foul on Washington. Free kick for the Cosmos.
Foul against Washington. Free kick Cosmos at midfield. Johan Nieskens. And he just puts it up in the air right to the hot box area of Washington. Ball still in danger until Peter Carr knifes it out of the air with that noggin. And I'd hate to count the number of stitches that Peter Carr has taken on that noggin this year.
Neat play there by Chinaglia, and the high ball again.
Ooh, and there's Benedict Argo, sandwiched between Chinaglia and Romero, that headed it clear just in time. Escuderian back at midfield. Now Jeff Durgan to Cabanas. Cabanas, Escuderian. In across the 35. Giving chase is Hebert. Escuderian's cross hit Trevor Franklin. Bounces across the touchline. It'll be throw-in Cosmos. Quickly to Steve Wegerle. Wegerle doesn't quite have the speed he had in former years. I don't know if it's because of age or because of injury or perhaps inactivity. He hasn't played that much this year. But I remember when he was with Tampa Bay, I thought he was about the best you could find at that right wing.
Yes, he's got that bit of plaster on his hand, which maybe is pulling him back a little bit.
Well, you can see Steve Wegerle and Reisbergen trying to work for a clean cross. Trevor Franklin nods it out of bounds. Now Bogusevic's going to try it. 1:10 remaining first half. 2-1. Cosmos leading the Diplomats. Now they're going to give a throw in to Washington. Could it be that the Cosmos made that simple elementary error and had an illegal throw in, and thus the referee gave it to Washington? I'm not sure why Washington was awarded a throw in.
Foul throw, I think, Jim, there.
It was a stupid elementary mistake. Jim Brown, did he save it or not? Linesman says, nope, it'll be corner kick Cosmos.
He's no heart, the linesman there. All that effort, and he says no. But this is a dangerous moment. 22 seconds left, and another high ball. Or was it? Yes, it is.
Dips across and score, Cosmos. Jimmy, you must have smelt that one coming.
Well, it isn't difficult to see when you've been in soccer as long as I have. It isn't difficult to see the way the goals are going to come against the Dips. Difficult to do anything about it at the moment because, you know, as I say, we do not have that number 5 that matters. But that was a cleverly worked goal. It was a near post corner, played in low, not too high, flicked on with the head for another man to come after that. A brilliant bit of finishing.
Nieskens gets the goal.
There it is. It's one. You see the man running to the near post, flicks it on, up, and just pops it up in the air. And again, that centre of the 6-yard box, which is like a cemetery really for Dip's hopes, because that's where most of them have been buried.
So it's 3-1. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats, and the worst time to have a goal scored against you in that final minute of the first half, and that's when The Diplomats gave up the goal. It's 3-1 at the end of the half. The Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. We'll return to Giant Stadium here in East Rutherford right after we pause for these messages. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. Leading the Washington Diplomats. It started out like a Cosmos rout as they got 2 quick goals on the Washington Diplomats, but then Heinz Wirtz saved the day, at least the first half, until the final deadly 15 seconds, getting a goal for the Diplomats to make it 2-1, and we thought perhaps we can go to halftime with a 1-goal deficit, which ain't all that bad against the Cosmos here in Giant Stadium. But Jimmy, you smelt that one coming, that 3rd goal.
Well, I did, and hope everybody else was able to spot the weakness too, and maybe foretell impending disaster, because for some time now it was obvious that the Cosmos realized that we are vulnerable in the air on the edge of the 6-yard box, you know, and that really we haven't got the ammunition to deal with that type of cross. And they're experienced enough to take advantage of that, and it's a pity because the rest of the game has been very even indeed. I mean, the 3-1 score doesn't represent the ebb and flow of the play between the teams, but whereas when we put over that type of cross, you've got dominant defensive heading to get the ball out of the danger area. I'm afraid we're not as bad as we are appearing, but nerves are making us frightened of any ball that floats over in the air. You know, they sort of go cross-eyed or something when the ball is coming like that.
Indecisiveness up here.
Go rigid. I mean, what to do is to be agile, you know, bounce on your feet and go and meet it and get there before a forward. That's the way to get that elevation, and it's a skill that some of the players have, but through fear they're not using at the moment.
Jimmy, we'll take a look at all 4 goals scored in the first half of play, 3-1 Cosmos leading, but last time we chatted was in Toronto, and we had a very frank discussion about the franchise in Washington. Anything to add? Any new developments? Any update?
Well, yeah, a couple of silly things, really. I mean, the Detroit newspapers suddenly, first of all, started a rumor yesterday on a radio station that the franchise had finished and we were no longer in business, which, if it had been in England, they'd have been sued straight away and it would have been a hefty amount of damage. No, this was in Detroit, on a radio station. They got a journalist ring up and say, we hear you're out of business. Not very nice, and definitely actionable in England, and you can make money out of that, but it doesn't seem to operate that way here. So then all the papers followed up with a story about a couple of lawsuits that have been going for ages now, squabbles with our previous partners in Detroit who were unhappy about being bought out of the franchise and lost their jobs. No particular worry, nothing new on that score, but suddenly it was inflamed into a story. But it is true that that we're finding it hard to exist because we were looking for a lot of investment in Washington to keep the game there, to join with the Hill family and do that. We haven't had $1 worth of investment from the Washington area, so on that basis, times are hard, and it may well be that the Hill family might not be part of the future, and the future will be by selling the franchise to 1 or 2 or 3 organizations who are interested in buying it but running it their own way. Now that'll be our disappointment, of course, because we set out to do it and we'd love to finish the job, and we feel that some people like the way, a lot of loyal people there like the way that we're doing things, but if that isn't to be, the important thing is that the franchise is maintained by somebody with the capital to do it.
In Washington?
In Washington, of course.
You feel pretty confident?
Oh, I see no reason for it not being in Washington, because it must be one of the the top 10 in franchise terms, in terms of strength and backing and possibilities for the future. So I don't see any reason for Washington not having a soccer franchise. There are mysteries, of course. I mean, those of the sitting watching now are probably our most loyal fans, the 6.5 that were there at the last game. But I mean, it is strange to try to understand how you can get 37,000 people out for a Cosmos game and 8,500 people out for a Chicago game.
Do you accept the fact, Jimmy, hypothetical question, the night you had that great crowd for the Cosmos, certainly a good effort, but what difference would have a win made that night that might have carried you maybe the rest? Because if you remember, after that loss, I think they were so maybe disappointed.
Bubble burst a little bit,
They went on a real bad streak.
Yeah, it shouldn't, you see, I mean, if it needs every team in the league to win in order for soccer to survive in America, well, then that's impossible, because, you know, every team, it can't happen that way. Some teams are winners. You're going to win some matches and lose them. We've got, or almost had, a 500 record, I think it's caused here, and we might end up, might end up with something less than that, which isn't disgraceful for a team that was put together on a low budget very quickly. And I think one of the things that team has done, and thank you for those of you who've written in letters saying so, they fought hard for the franchise, the team on the field, maybe lacking a bit of ability in one or two positions, but they've given everything to try and make things go, and have ended up with a record not to be ashamed of. And I still think, with our 1 point here, plus some we'll get against Toronto, we're going to qualify for the playoffs. But nevertheless, it is a mystery to know how we cannot get something like a 12, 13, 14,000 base, which wouldn't be enough to make a profit, but it would be enough to encourage people to put their money in on the basis that it will come good in a few years' time.
Well, let's hope before you go back to England, you do see some playoff action with the Diplomats, Jimmy.
Well, I shan't see that. My last match is the Sunday match against Toronto. And,
well, then get reports on it anyway.
Well, I'll certainly keep in touch. But I want Johan Cruyff to be there on that day, and I want everybody else in Washington to be there on that day, just to prove to people that the city is a viable city for a soccer franchise, and to end up the season on a high note, and to give the team the encouragement I think that they deserve for what they've tried to do this season under pretty difficult circumstances.
Let's take a look at highlights of the first half. First of all, the goal by Chinaglia, goal number 29 on the year for Chinaglia.
Well, this again was a good crossing from the left wing there by Romero, but nobody marking. I talked about the cemetery, centre of the 6-yard box. Can you see it, that line there? That's exactly where Chinaglia was. Jim Brown couldn't get out to that position, and no other defender was in a position to challenge Chinaglia for that header. Now that is really unforgivable, that he has allowed a free header from that position.
Wasn't there a mistake too, though, that the goalkeeper had to go out and cover a man that no one else was back to cover, Romero?
Yes, I think Jim Brown actually, in trying to make up for somebody else's mistake, took up a bad position there. He went too far forward, maybe for a near post cross, as against the one that came over to the centre of the goal. But on the other hand, if you're anticipating the way that forward is running towards what we call the byline, to screw it back with his left foot, it's unlikely that he could hit from there a hard cross to the near post.
Yes.
The only one that he could manage would be that chipped up ball. So really, if Jim had not been so anxious to go out and do something about it and stayed there, he might just have got to the edge of the 6-yard box. But that's not excusing other people for doing what we call ball watch. That's, instead of watching where the opposing players are, they're looking out at the man who's crossing the ball.
No question, the second goal. You mentioned at the time, Jimmy, that you won't see one better any place in the world.
But on the other hand, it was a weak header. I think it's by Malcolm Waldron there. Look, he's gone up, popped it up in the air. The running forwards have taken advantage of it, but a really beautiful volley to tuck it in the corner of the net by Cabanas. But nevertheless, a panicky header from Malcolm Waldron. If he let the ball run completely, missed it altogether, it wouldn't have broken through the defence. So we've really given Cosmos their first 2 goals, their presence, which they are well capable of accepting with gratitude, as we've seen.
At that point in the game, it looked like maybe a rout that we fear all season long, but every team, I guess, sometime along the way suffers a rout, and we thought perhaps that was it. Yeah. But less than a minute later, the Diplomats come right back and say, we aren't going to be routed tonight.
Right. This was it, and a high-class goal there. This is Nardiello, who was cool on it. He sometimes panics a little, Don, when he gets near the area, but that was a beautiful pass. I'm sure that's
Bradford.
David Bradford there. And Heinz Wirtz running through, volleyed it in with his favourite left foot, almost like the Cabanas one. But a high-quality goal, maybe judged a fraction offside, but when you say rout, there's no question in the balance of play that Dips have been routed. They've played very well against a side of highly talented players, but exposed themselves in the one weak area, which is why it's 3-1.
Yeah. That third goal, 15 seconds before the end of the half on a corner by Nieskens. It's 3-1. Cosmos leading the Diplomats, and we'll be back for second half action right after this. Diplomats, quite an exhibition at midfield. This is a youngster from the New York area. You might think, my gracious, is that Pele down there? But you talk about ability, you talk about, you know, the technique of the game. All this youngster needs is an opportunity to play against world-class competition. Now, he has all the skills needed to be a world-class player, Jimmy.
Yes, a world-class juggler, too, if you want to make a living out of the way he's going. It's extraordinary, really, because how the game has developed in the world over the last few years. I mean, I played from, 1950 to 1961, too, in the English first and second division. Now, during that time, I had nowhere near the ball control that this young lad is showing at the moment. It was funny, we used an extraordinary way of practicing, but because we didn't have training grounds in those days, you couldn't play on the pitch under English conditions sort of every day of the week, because it would wear it out for Saturday. The field, this is, I mean.
Yes.
And there were no training grounds in England in those days, so you used to have to train in the areas that were free, and that's by running around the track. So everybody said the way to train as a professional soccer player is to run around the outside, not to train with the ball. And the other thing that they used to say was, if you don't have the ball in the week, you'll be hungry for it when you play a match. But nobody was acquiring technique and skill with the ball, no players, except what you get during the hour and a half of the game. But fortunately, with the advent of training grounds now in England, and the leading clubs have splendid facilities, really, over the last few years, they've realised they were getting behind the rest of the world in technique, and they now are paying attention to it with young men like the one we've just seen. But that's not our problem at the moment. Our problem is to find a way to pick up 2 goals on the Cosmos.
Final regular season home game coming up this Sunday, August 16, 2:30 in the afternoon against Toronto. And the last chance to take advantage of group sales this season, too. So if you haven't been out to a game yet, or if you have and want to get back, get together a group and give the Diplomats a call at 544-KICK and get the group out this Sunday, 2:30. And let's just hope for good weather, too, Jimmy.
Well, we haven't had much luck some weeks, but I have a funny feeling it's going to be good for us this Sunday. We had all the rain we want today in Washington before we left. But second half coming up now, and as I was saying, on the balance of play, the shot statistics, Washington 6, Cosmos 5. So, you know, there really is nothing in it, because that's a kind of production line of your ability in the game, how many shots you produce, and Washington, in fact, are in the lead, but not in the lead when it comes to the score, because of that heading weakness in their own defense.
Center half kick taken by the Cosmos, and right away, Cabanas losing it to David Bradford. Sliding tackle from behind. It'll be free kick. Washington Diplomats. Jim Brown in the nets to our left here in the second half, and Hubert Birkenmeier in the nets to our right. 3-1, Cosmos leading the Diplomats. There's the goal scorer for Washington, Heinz Wirtz. Shot is blocked. Peter Carr at midfield. Now Trevor Franklin chips it high to the hot box area. The Cosmos cleared out. Franklin again on the header. Dumps it inside. Wirtz waiting for a whistle, and they're going to give a free kick to Washington.
Handball there, Jim, but he might well have played the advantage rule, because the Dips are in a better position when he stopped it than they are now.
Exactly. Bouncing shot wide of the goal. It'll be goal kick, Cosmos. Not quite Waldron's range from there, Jimmy.
No, but he still hit it pretty fiercely, didn't he? And it was only a couple of yards wide of that right-hand post there.
Balloons a knuckler high to midfield. Peter Carr called for...
You see, that is one of the refereeing problems in America. When you do attack the ball, as he did there, and he didn't attack the man, that was as clean a jump for a ball in the air as you'd ever see, the referee has called it a foul. And
because
no
he was
way
out of position, Jimmy.
Well, whether he's out of position or not, I see that happen continually, and as long as you go for the ball and play it cleanly like that, there's no real offence. And when a man does something like that, it's a splendid skill, athletic, brave and everything, and it ends up by giving you a free kick to the other side.
Yes, he's penalized.
He might just as well push the fella in the back and give a foul away anyway.
Ball not out of bounds, midfield. 2-0 now, Tampa Bay, Jimmy, and the nail biting gets a little more fierce.
Yes, that's not good. Tampa Bay, there's Nardiello going on the right.
Move.
And another corner
block.
kick.
And it'll be corner kick Washington Diplomats.
Diplomats, their third of the match.
David Bradford taking the short from Nardiello, dumps it to the hot box, but handled cleanly by the Cosmos. Then Reisbergen clears it out. Chip it on the open right wing. Lots of room to move for the Cosmos. Steve Wegerle with that cast on the left arm. He's easy to pick out. Swings it out on top to Bogey. Just chips it for Chinaglia. Chinaglia dumps it left side looking for Romero, but squirted away by Benny Dargo. It'll be throw in Washington or Cosmos. Cosmos. Running throw in by Cabanas. Upcoming. Chinaglia right in the box. Going short. Cabanas shot. And Jim Brown with the save. Close in shot by Cabanas. I think everybody was conscious of Chinaglia behind Cabanas, and the throw-in went to Cabanas, who turned quickly with a shot, but Jim Brown not fooled. Run through midfield by Peter Carr. Carr's pass trickled off the leg of Neeskens. Neeskens couldn't control. Now Hebert for the Diplomats. To Nardiello. And Hebert does exactly what you should do. Run to that goal mouth. Hebert drops it off the chest. Now Benny Dargo turns one on goal, but an easy save for Birkenmeier.
I noticed Romero's not running very freely for the Cosmos, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them bring on a substitute for him.
He at one time had perhaps the best speed of anyone in this North American Soccer League. This is Reisbergen. Turns it inside for Durgan. Back to Reisbergen, but overran it. Nardiello at the end line. Just stopped it in time before it went across the end line. It'll be a throw-in now for the Washington Diplomats. Bradford turns it up the middle to Peter Carr. Back to the mighty Adam David Bradford. To McGill. McGill and Neeskens, two number 13s, and it's across the touchline. Throw in Cosmos.
See Neeskens
with the score, Cosmos 3, Washington 1. Let's take this pause. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer.
You can see there, oh, you know, we're not going to do it. It's a very interesting there because Heinz-Werts plays in the Bundesliga. The heading is not outstanding there. And he, you see, he shied away. Yeah, he headed it and did that. Yeah. And fella ran into him. He's gone off. Romero's gone off, as I said. Eh? 28's come on.
Jimmy, you can see your old coaching days coming back. You mentioned a while ago you expect Romero to be going off, and Romero is off. And Chico Borgia has replaced him, number 28. Chico Borgia replaces Romero. 3-1. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. 38:45 remaining regulation time. Peter Carr with Waldron working the ball midfield. Waldron punching it forward to Hebert. Hebert trying to turn. Gets it on the near side for Clive Haywood. Haywood, who's gotten a couple of big goals in recent matches, takes it to the corner looking for the cross, but it's blocked across. Well, he just shanked it across the end line. It'll be goal kick, Cosmos. Bogusevic quickly through midfield. Now Cabanas. Cabanas rolls it on the carpet, left it go for Chinaglia. Return pass. Couldn't get it to Bogey. I think we have a lot of coaches on the field, too. I think every Cosmo is trying to dictate the game, Jimmy.
Well, when you try those little wall passes, as they were doing there with feints and dummies involved, you're going to make some mistakes, really, but it looks so bad when it happens that I'm afraid the crowd lose patience with them. But if you're going to try and create something like that, you must be prepared for the odd occasion where it doesn't work out and you're made to look a little bit of an idiot.
Quick run through by Neeskens, and Neeskens and McGill collide hard. McGill quickly, and Neeskens staring him down.
There's the
Foul
battle
called against McGill.
Between Raw Recruit and World Cup star. Yeah, fascinating.
Neeskens tees it up for the free kick. 3-1 Cosmos. Neeskens lines one right to the hot box. Cleared out by Verts. Sent back in. This is Borgia. Bicycle kick. Looks good on the film, but no harm done as Jim Brown had it easily. Reminder, this coming Sunday, final home game in the regular season for the Washington Diplomats against Toronto. It'll be Kodak Fan Appreciation Day and 7-Eleven Gym Bag Day. The first 5,000 people through the gates this coming Sunday gets a gym bag courtesy of 7-Eleven. Nice turn by Haywood. Haywood looking for the cross. Low cross and just away from Bradford. What a chance there. And it's flipped back to Birkenmeier.
A very nice turn there from Clive Haywood to put himself in that position. But then he tried to be too precise and pick a man out instead of just crushing it over and letting someone get on the end of it. But when I said that he was capable of becoming a good striker in the NESL, it was for the reason that he can turn people on that 35-yard line as he did there, get to the goal line, and then cross the ball over.
Another Diplomat has hit the turf. And the referee, Gordon Arrowsmith, I don't know if he gave a yellow card or just a verbal scolding to Cabanas. I don't know if it was an elbow or what lowered.
I think that's Peter Carr,
Peter
who has,
Carr, yes.
yeah, they've been having a little bit of a battle all the game. If you remember early on, almost right at the start of the game, Peter Carr tackled him and Cabanas didn't like it and made a lot of it. But he's been waiting his moment to get a bit of revenge, and I think he's got a little bit there. But I've not much sympathy, because if you live by the sword, you've got to be prepared to die by it, I'm afraid, in this game. And Peter Carr's a player who's given out a share of punishment during his career, and hopefully will take some and not complain about it.
I'm sure there'll be no complaints. Just a little subtle retaliation before this match is over, perhaps. Remember, Cabanas, here's a dangerous play as Chinaglia had the foot high on Waldron. No problem as Jim Brown has the ball, sweeps it left side for Bradford. Now for Trevor Franklin. To Bradford. Bradford runs with it through midfield. That's David McGill. Now following up Nardiello. To McGill. Or Haywood. Haywood takes it to the right foot, and the cross is blocked out of bounds. It'll be throw in Washington. I was talking about Cabanas and Bradford earlier. Bradford and Cabanas really leveled each other. And Cabanas got game suspension out of it, too. Now Nardiello, left flank. Flips it to the hot box area, still in pursuit, then knocked across the end line by Neeskens. Corner kick, Washington.
I've found a way to distinguish between Haywood and McGill. Haywood's got a wristband on, sweatband. Thank me. I want to know too.
Well, Durgan got away with a little magic. Now this is Chico. Borgia on the run inside the 35. Puts it on the right foot. Sends it in the middle for Wim Rijsbergen, but he just wasted a pass, and the Diplomats on a quick transition if they hurry. Bradford tried to play it into the middle, but too far ahead of Hebard, and the Cosmos bring it back. Bogey to Chinaglia, back to Bogusevic. Now Rijsbergen widens it for Eskandarian. Eskandarian applying pressure, lays it to Wegerle in the right corner. Looking for a cross from Steve Wegerle. Here it is, right to the goal mouth. Not it. Up over the head of Chinaglia. Now Borja back into the hot box area. Borja takes a return at the goal line and then calmly puts it back to Jim Brown.
Thank goodness the cross wasn't in the air.
At midfield, Jeff Durgan for the Cosmos. Now Reisbergen. Cosmos with a 2-goal lead, just performing all the textbook drills of soccer at this moment. Good ball controlled at midfield. Waiting for an opening, then the quick thrust. Will it come now as Eskandarian moves to Wegerle? Overlapping Eskandarian, Wegerle held up, and a foul called. It'll be free kick, Cosmos. In the air, and Jimmy gets awfully anxious every time an air ball goes to that hot box, but Jim Brown handles it cleanly. 3-1 as we await Jim Brown to put the ball in play. Let's pause for this message. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. Montreal and Toronto tied 1-1.
Montreal. Oh, well, if Toronto beat Montreal. That's a good pass. Fly.
31.5 minutes remaining regulation time. 3-1, Cosmos leading the Diplomats. Incidentally, Cabanas did get a yellow card for that elbow or whatever it was that leveled Peter Carr not too long ago. Borja going to the end line. Here's the high cross to the far post and curls across the end line. It'll be goal kick, Washington.
Just hear the Cosmos crowd there. Borja's a player came out of the draft pick this year, and a young player, obviously, quite a lot of talent, but it looks as if he's made the odd mistake. Offside called there by that linesman. Looks as if he's made the odd mistake and has become unpopular with them, and of course they're doing his confidence no good whatsoever, but there might be a nice cheap American available soon if they continue to drain his confidence away with that kind of reaction. It's not easy to come out of here in these circumstances, really. Vast stadium in your first season and perform on this stage with some of the best players in the world. Not easy for a young player at all, and they do need patience. Actually, Nardiello's gone off there, and Ross Jenkins has come on.
Jenkins is fit.
Oh, he's fit. He gets his chance now to to make up for when things haven't broken for him, to maybe put the Dips back in the game, because it's quite often when you're in the side and you're holding on to your place and you know you're not quite doing it, you're under pressure and you're defensive in your approach, but when you're not in it to start with and you get an opportunity like this, maybe he'll feel, well, he can do something to help the team at a moment when it most needs it. So looking optimistically, we might get a bit of effort from Ross Jenkins, and of course he's going to disturb them in the air in the way they've been disturbing us in the air.
Here's the first ball to Jenkins. Jenkins couldn't quite get to it, but following up, but not quite quickly enough.
Reisbergen there, such an experienced defender, another World Cup star, let the ball run, took it in his stride and took all the excitement out of that attack, which is a defender's job.
That was Hebert giving chase. Now the quick striking ball as the Cosmos think perhaps they've lulled the Dips to sleep, but not quite, as Jim Brown still alert. Had everything under control. Now David Bradford. Let's see if the Diplomats can get one and make a ball game out of it again. They were behind 2-0 early in the game. Then Heinz Wirtz made it 2-1. Good tip pass by McGill, left side. But the shot goes wide. Will it be corner or goal? Corner kick.
Corner kick for Washington.
Jenkins in the game just in time, Jimmy.
Yes, in time for a high ball. If Cosmos can do it, why can't the Dips?
Jeff Durgan all over Jenkins. Jenkins tries to get free, but Eskandarian managed to head the ball for Steve Wegerle. To Neeskens, back to Wegerle. Beautiful feed, wide open left side. Boria. Listen for the boos now as Chico Boria will try and create something and gave it away. And here are the boos.
I can see his problem that he's naturally a right-footed player and he's being asked to operate on the left, so he's coming inside, which is foreign to him and won't help his confidence at all.
Benny Dargo for Jenkins. Jenkins blocked out nicely by Jeff Durgan. And the foul called against Jenkins, interfering, so it'll be free kick Cosmos. Group sales, how about this coming Sunday for the match against Toronto at RFK Stadium, 2:30 Sunday afternoon. Get a gang of 20 or more together and get special discount rates. Call 544-KICK Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Wegerle on the right flank, brings it out on top. Wegerle still in control, now gets help from Cabanas. Cabanas tried to drill it, but was just a bit out of step, couldn't get all of it. Now Boria, will it be boos or cheers for Chico Boria? No harm done as he lays it back to Wim Rijsbergen. Return for Boria. Boria had the shot, put it on the right foot, then centered and cleared out. And you mentioned again, Jimmy, there you can see a right-footed player playing the left side.
It's exactly, I could see it in 10 seconds really, and yeah, the coach is doing him no favors by leaving him on in these circumstances. I mean, if I'd take Weigel over to this side and at least give him a go on the side of the field where he might pick up a bit of confidence.
Here's
there it is, the center of the 6-yard box.
That was Bogusevic missing the half volley. Bogey has it back. Trevor Franklin giving watch. Boria with it and lost it as Benny Dargo clears. Clive Haywood at midfield for Washington. A quick counter upcoming, perhaps. Quick run up the middle, but Hebert not in eyesight of Clive Haywood, who played it back to Verts. Now left side for Bradford. Bradford inching toward the hot box. Cuts it inside, but cleared easily by Irushi. Trevor Franklin sweeps it left side for David Bradford. Bradford looking the middle, has Jenkins there if he can get the cross accomplished. Good heel bring back pass, but not fooling the likes of Wim Rijsbergen. McGill lost it, but Trevor Franklin has it back quickly to Heinz Verts. Plays it to Peter Carr, who wasn't too sure he wanted that pass. Now Trevor Franklin to Bradford, station wide open on the left flank. Good preparation. Let's see if it can pay off. Still no mistakes. David McGill. Now Bradford looking for the return pass, but it's broken up by Durgan. Good work by the Diplomats. They keep the pressure on. Benny Dargo to Peter Carr. Now to Dargo. Dargo tried to force it through, got away with it, still has it. Chipped it to the far side when perhaps it should have come to the near side to McGill. Easy to see it up here, isn't it, Jimmy?
It is. I was thinking of Peter Carr popping it to Benny Dargo there. Oh, there's Weigel going up that right wing.
And Chinaglia up front. And Wegerle looking for number 9, Chinaglia. Will he give it to him? Brings it back to Roberto Cabanas. Cabanas just tried to cup it over the head of Peter Carr. And it'll be free kick. Trying to give it to Washington or the Cosmos. Which way?
He's given it to Cosmos. He pointed the other way to start with, Jim, and then realized that what he'd done. That it was obviously a handball. The players stopped. And that David McGill feeding that sore muscle.
See the defensive wall set up by the Washington Diplomats. Free, direct kick.
Usual distance. Looks 10 yards on the screen, but is only 6.
Meanwhile, back upfield, an injured Washington Diplomat being attended to.
It's David McGill, I think.
McGill?
He's got that sore calf muscle that he's had for some time, and it just running on this AstroTurf, it just keeps tightening up. That wouldn't be a good thing for the Dips, quite honestly, because I think there is hope in this game if they could pick up a goal during the next 10-15 minutes. And Mikkelsen coming on at the moment, been out injured for a bit, would unbalance us. There's no question about it that McGill and Dargill are a class above the standard of the other American players that we have, and when one of those goes off, it weakens it just that little bit. With all due respects to young Mikkelsen, because it's his first season and he plays a very difficult position as a striker. It's much harder to operate in that part of the field than it is farther back. Maybe they'll use him in midfield because he's a very athletic young man, and I think he might be quite useful there. And I can't see Jenkins or Haywood coming back, so it looks as if he'll have to play something more of a withdrawn role than he's used to. Maybe good, maybe find it easier facing the ball a bit more than that very difficult job of striker. There goes Giorgio.
Chinaglia hit the wall, the ball bouncing high in the air. Jim Brown failed to punch it clean, but did manage to get it out of the danger area. Borja now for the Cosmos. Pressure, dumps it back to the defender. Hirushi winds it on the far side. 3-1 Cosmos leading. Peter Carr bravely up in the air, nods the ball cleanly away. Now Borja on the left flank. There's a left foot cross, low, knocked down by Peter Carr. Heinz Wirtz at the end line. Good turning, clearing ball that almost was free with Haywood, but knocked away last moment by Reisbergen. Throw in Washington. Heinz Wirtz, who has the Washington goal. Now Benny Dargill. Mikkelsen chopped down from behind. It'll be free kick, Washington. Taken quickly. Peter Carr running up the middle, and the referee says, wait a minute.
Strangely, the referee has allowed all Cosmos free kicks to be taken quickly and not necessarily from the spot where the foul was committed, which is not really according to the letter of the law. You know, it's just the spirit of the law. But he pulled that one up when Dips took it. But is this going to be a chance anyway?
Mikkelsen giving chase in the corner, but it's cleared by the Cosmos. Cabanas almost lost it. Maybe still has lost it. Then the foul against Mikkelsen. It'll be free kick, Cosmos. A break in the action, the score. Cosmos 3, Washington 1. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer. Okay. Three to 1 Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. 22.5 minutes remaining regulation time. Jim Brown grabs one away from Giorgio Chinaglia, who got goal number 29 on the season, going for another 30-goal season. Attendance tonight 34,884 at Giant Stadium here in East Rutherford. Ross Jenkins doing battle in midair. Almost lobbed it to the goal mouth for Ole Mikkelsen. Cosmos turn at midfield. Bogusevic, clean trap off the chest and then chopped down from behind by Heinz Wirtz. Free kick, Cosmos. Bogey to Cabanas. Cabanas tried to nutmeg between the legs of Wirtz. Got away with it as Bogey recovered for the Cosmos. To Borja, wide open left flank. Now challenged by Benny Dargill. Sets it up for Reisbergen, and he just fanned on that right foot swing shot. Quick counter by the Diplomats. Clive Haywood. Mickelson goes right. We have Hebert going left. Leaving it for Bradford. David Bradford. Quick shot and just wide of the goal. It'll be goal kick, Cosmos. Individual ticket sales, call Sports Charge at 350-2100, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And those calls now would be for the game this coming Sunday against Toronto. Could you tell what kind of injury maybe to McGill, Jimmy?
Well, I'm a little worried about it. They seem to be showing a lot of attention to him. Just you can see the white spot over on the far side there. Might get a look at it in a moment, but he's they're rather worried about what's gone on there. Maybe it's a fresh injury to the normal sore muscle that he's been experiencing. But we shall see. Last thing we want to do is to lose David McGill at this stage of the season.
Neeskens for the Cosmos. A run on the right flank, following up Steve Wegerle. Wegerle inches toward the hot box. Now the run to the end line. Here's the cross, headed over the crossbar by Eddie Colhoun, who's now in the game.
What a difference.
The Washington Diplomats. Exactly, Jimmy.
What a difference. Meets the first ball. You see, you have to anticipate where the ball is coming, never mind where anybody else is, and just go and meet that ball and head it.
Corner kick, Cosmos. Low to the near post, and there's Eddie Colhoun again. I hate to second guess coaching, Jimmy, but obvious right now. Why not from the beginning?
And again, Eddie. Well, I think it was a worry about that shoulder, and I mean, Eddie was actually playing and would have made a big difference in the last month, I think, if he hadn't had that shoulder injury. I think you probably ended up with maybe another 12 or 14 points with Eddie in the team, because it's better balanced in that way. But there you are. There's
quick shot by Waldron, and maybe still alive as Jenkins hustles to the corner. Challenged by Jeff Durgan. Had it knocked away from him out of bounds. Throw in Washington. Not only the fact that Eddie has such great savvy at that back line and can meet those headers head on, but just his generalship on the field. You can see him directing traffic over here, over there. He's a coach on the field. Bradford now for the Washington Diplomats. A goal could make this interesting. Tees it up for Waldron. Blistering shot, score!
Goal.
Malcolm Waldron. Did I say a goal could make it interesting, Jimmy? What a play by the Diplomats. And Waldron gets goal number 15.
That was farther out than that shot he had early on. You remember where he said it was a bit outside range, but when he hits them well, there's no such thing as being outside Waldron's range. It was well set up there. Bradford with the assist, put it there, said go on, hit that. Now instep kick, well over the ball, everything he can get into it, and beautifully placed right against the stanchion at the back of the goal. Beautiful.
3-2 with 18 minutes remaining regulation time. Boria this time beats Penidargo. Across for Chinaglia. What a beautiful play by Chinaglia, but credit Jim Brown with a brilliant save. Magic, Jimmy.
Nice piece of football, and Boria did something that the crowd liked.
Yes, gave it to Chinaglia. If I were a winger on this team, Jimmy, I don't care who was open, what the situation was, I would just give it to number 9 as they did it. Oh, that was 19 that time, Cabanas.
You see, they beat Eddie with that cross. He was beaten there, and Malcolm Waldron didn't win it against Cabanas, and Eddie was annoyed about it, because it's not enough to have one man, but his inspiration has got to make the others meet it when it comes in their zone.
3-2, the Cosmos lead cut to 1 goal on a brilliant setup by David Bradford, who has 2 great assists. Now Boria again, and Chinaglia is wide open this time. Boria takes the shot, score! And now the boos go to cheers.
What an extraordinary thing, Jim. I just wondered whether on his night, you know, he wouldn't come back because of the misery that he was suffering. And he took that beautifully, but notice it was with his right foot from the left wing, just steered it past Jim Brown. There it is. Right-footed player running down on the left, says, what shall I do? Why don't I try a little chip shot there for the far corner of the net? And that's exactly what he did. But it's funny, we've been treating him with scant respect, as if we agreed with the crowd that he was never going to do anything, and he's been given yards of space in that position by Benny Dargill. I don't know why that is happening, because it's not usual. But
You're
nevertheless, you know, it's an unusual situation, but they gave him all the space in the world there.
I was that surprised that Benny Dargall was beaten that time. I think I mentioned the fact, and Dargall is beaten this time. But still, I'm looking at Chinaglia, who also was wide open. Perhaps more you thought. Everybody's watching Chinaglia now. I got the open corner and threaded the needle. 4-2. The Cosmo lead back to 2 goals. Throw in to Mickelson. Mickelson just popped it over his head. Cabanas has it to Bogey. Boga 7. Now to Steve Wegerle. Now the Cosmos didn't seem to be too worried when the lead was cut to 1. They just chipped it back to 2 in a hurry. Trevor Franklin almost lost it to Wegerle.
Well done.
Now David Bradford had 2 just perfect assists tonight, looking for another. Neeskens flips it back. Camp, get your kicks. The final camp of the season put on by the Washington Diplomats, members of the Dips. Conducting Camp City Get Your Kicks, August 18 to 21st at RFK Stadium. You can call 544-KICK for details. Boryev, who won the acclaim of Cosmo fans here this evening by solidifying a 2-goal lead once again. Now getting cheers when he gets the ball. Foul against Washington, free kick, Cosmos.
There it is now. He got a touch to the ball there, you see, and that's why he jumped there and said to the referee, look, I've got the ball. He won it fairly with his left foot. So often, if the player falls and looks as if he's hurting himself, the referee puts his whistle in his mouth and blows it. And I'm afraid they've got to learn, in fairness to the players of all teams, to appreciate it when a player does tackle for the ball. Now he's won it in the air again.
To Cabanas, and Cabanas nods it over the crossbar. But beautiful piece of work in the air by Chinaglia, nodded it to Cabanas, and Cabanas just over the crossbar. Goal kick, Washington. A break in the action, the score. Cosmos 4, Washington 2. This is Washington Diplomats Soccer.
He's given that the wrong way too. Hayward foul.
Yes.
It's never a foul for us. Maybe we score a goal off it. See the difference now as the player picks up confidence. I mean, the crowd are making him a bad player. He's suddenly got confidence.
There's a nice run he made. You know, he did exactly what you should do.
It's unusual for American crowds. Most of them are pretty good. No, they're not. That was a foul.
Foul on Washington. Free kick for the Cosmos.
Moments ago, Bogey had a free kick from the same spot. Let's see if they play the same way. Not so this time. Headed toward the goal mouth. Jim Brown smothered it beautifully. I think they were expecting again the return header to the goal mouth, but Jim Brown not fooled. Quick transition, Washington. Bradford has to slow up now. 4-2 Cosmos to Mickelson. Mickelson scoops it back to Bradford. Bradford stutter stepping, quick turning shot, just curls to the far post, grabbed off by Birkenmeier. Laid up the middle. Arushi had it knocked away from him, but the referee's going to give it to the Cosmos on the throw-in. 13 minutes remaining, regulation time, 4-2, Cosmos leading. Montreal and Toronto are tied 1-1. Montreal 9 points ahead of Washington at the moment. Montreal has yet to play these Cosmos, and then the final game of the regular season against Washington. That game in Montreal, the final home game for the Dips this coming Sunday against Toronto. Beautiful curling pass on the far side. Eskandarian. Neeskens. Wegerle.
Fans kick back
I think we're going to the four-corner offense now by the Cosmos. They have a 2-goal lead with 12 minutes remaining. Bogusevic. Turning shot, trying to catch Wim Rijsbergen, and the foul committed.
Offside he's given.
Offside, rather. Free kick, Washington. Waldron, who got his 15th goal of the season not too long ago. Mickelson almost had a gift, but was turned the wrong way. Rishi to Wegerle. In the middle for Nieskens. To Bogusevic. To Cabanas. You're talking about world-class names strung out right there. Now Borja, who got the 4th goal for the Cosmos, cuts inside on Benny Dargo and flips it back. Nieskens to Wegerle. Nieskens waited just a bit too long. The return to Wegerle, grabbed off nicely by Trevor Franklin, who held his position, but then miscue on the feed to Hebert. To Chinaglia, right where he wants it, but couldn't turn quickly enough as he was knocked down by Eddie Colhoun. Now Borja. Borja will go to the right foot or not. Tipped away from him across the end line by Benny Dargo. Corner kick, Cosmos.
They haven't learned from it yet. They're still giving Borja more space than he should be given. Recruit that he is, and first season.
Good corner kick, but good header by Trevor Franklin to clear it away from the near post. And now to Hebert. Hebert, quick feed upfield for Clive Haywood. Haywood looking for the opening, hit the short side and missed it. Well, did he go to the far post on that shot or the short side, Jimmy, or just head to the goal?
One thing you don't do is miss the target, which he did there in the excitement. Not easy. He was running at full speed. It was a lovely move. Heinz Wirtz broke well there, and the through ball, I think, from Hebert was pretty good. And because of the speed that he used in getting there, he just collapsed a little bit on that shot instead of going right with it to make sure that he hits the hole of the goal. But you can score both ways. You can hit him in the far corner, and sometimes you can catch the keeper out and crash him in the near corner.
Hubert Birkenmeier to Wim Rijsbergen. Up the middle for Eskandarian. 9.5 minutes remaining. 4-2. Cosmos leading the Washington Diplomats. Rishi back to Birkenmeier, and the Cosmos obviously just wasting time now, protecting a 2-goal lead.
Pity we conceded that 4th goal, because we didn't give Cosmos a chance to get worried that they might not win the game. The team has competed pretty well territorially all the way through, but nevertheless, there's Haywood breaking through again.
Haywood chips it
good
to the
cross,
far
but
post.
Jenkins has come in the middle, and the ball's gone to the outside, which seems to happen to him 100 times a match. If he stays back, the ball goes in the middle. If he goes in the middle, it goes outside.
You know, you made a good point, Jimmy. At 3-2, the Cosmos easily could have started thinking, oh, no. They lost 3 games in a row coming into this one.
That's right.
Unheard of with the Cosmos.
Yeah. And on their own ground, for a team to have come back, and all credit to the team really for battling, as they still are battling now as Heinz Wirtz come in.
Jenkins gets it loose, quick shot, and Birkenmeier.
That was Franklin there.
Franklin
got that
indeed.
with his left foot, yes.
Bogusevic at midfield for the Cosmos. You can see Bogey, look at him, his head is up, he's looking as he dribbles. Maybe his head was up too much there as 2 red-shirted Diplomats took the ball away, but the Cosmos got it right back. Nieskens now. Johan Nieskens to Steve Wegerle. Looking for the cross, decides to go to the end line, but taken away. Cleared back to midfield. High lobbing pass, way offside. Cosmos. It'll be free kick, Washington. 7:40 remaining regulation time. 4-2, Cosmos leading Washington.
And those 2 goals are 2 points, just working it out with 3 games left before the night. That was 18 points you can get by winning them all, and 9 points you can get by scoring goals in all of them. So at least, even if the match is lost tonight, that's 2 points to add to the total, which could be absolutely vital. if Toronto should have happened to have beaten Montreal tonight, I haven't given up hope that we may finally catch them and go in to the playoffs out of getting second place in that league. Really, not impossible.
This Sunday, Washington playing Toronto at RFK Stadium, and then the final regular season game in Montreal. That could well be for second place and a sure spot in the playoffs. A moment ago, you saw Eddie Colhoun again in the air, just cutting down what appeared to be a momentary threat by the Cosmos. Now Mickelson. Jenkins. Mertz giving it to Bradford. Everybody up now for the Washington Diplomats. Teeing it up for Waldron. Waldron this time didn't quite get all of it as he was blocked by Rijsbergen. Had no place to put it as far as getting it on the goal, but still, fire it that way. It can bounce off a player. Anything can happen.
Yes, he didn't get, as they say, the meat of the boot behind it. But they all know that one more goal, even losing 4-3, could mean the difference between playoffs and not, and that's why the team's attacking flat out now. As much
Cabanas
as fatigue would allow them.
Let's see what he does with it. Chinaglia drills it, save Jim Brown. That's what you pay to see.
You can say what you like about Giorgio Chinaglia. He's the leading scorer and been for a number of seasons, but he is a great finisher. He doesn't miss the opportunity to test the keeper. Look at that, off his left foot when the opportunity came. Low shot, difficult, you had to get down and get to the side, and Jim Brown was equal to that with a fine save. He is as lethal a finisher, Chinaglia, as you'd find anywhere, and he in the Cosmos team, of course, he gets plenty of opportunities because they are a superior side, but he is a classy finisher when the opportunity comes his way, as he showed then.
Waldron, who's been deadly on free kicks from this range this season. Let's see what he does. There's nobody in the wall.
That looks about, actually, I've said it again, it must be getting a little boring, but the ref's trying to get him back a bit. On the screen, I can't believe it. It looks so close.
Waldron drills it, and it's blocked by the wall. And I mentioned there was no Washington player in the wall that time, Jimmy.
And David McGill's one who's got the knack of doing that is off, isn't he?
Yes, yes.
He managed to pull it off before.
Corner kick, Washington. Comes to the near post, no problem for the Cosmos to clear it out as Chico Borja brings it midfield. Borja takes it to his natural wing now, then overran the ball a bit, has to stutter back. Neeskens tried to flip it for Borja, broken up nicely by Trevor Franklin. Now Hibbert quickly upfield, bounding away. It'll be throw-in Washington.
We might as well push everybody up now at this stage of the game. It doesn't matter about conceding another one.
Oh, I was so hoping Mickelson would get one that he
was fouling, you see. Wasn't getting to the ball, and he was pushing, which means that the thing has broken down and he has virtually cleared it. That's inexperience. Mentioned it the other week. Must resist the temptation for forwards when you're not getting the ball to foul, because that stops the game, and even if the ball broke down to one of your players, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of it, because the free kick would be given against you.
The moment the Diplomats, if they do, lock up a playoff spot, you can get your tickets by calling Sports Charge 350-2100 or any Capital Center outlet for playoff tickets. And let's hope that there's a reason to call for playoff tickets. 3:20 remaining regulation time, 4-2. As Eddie Colhoun, and you can see the respect that Chinaglia has for Colhoun, no problem even challenging.
No, I think he would be relieved that Eddie really wasn't 100% fit and in the lineup tonight, but it's a little difficult to get a horse once it's run away.
Waldron feinting the header, left it down, knowing that Jim Brown was behind him to gobble it up.
Eddie Colhoun is pushing the whole team up there, both hands over his head. Get up there, and you can see a sea of red there going into the Cosmos half, so there could well be a breakaway, go one end or the other. A lot of pressure around the Cosmos goal or a breakaway, and you see Benny Dargill there struggling just that little bit. He's been running for the ball. He's been really uneasy on that left side of him for some weeks, and playing despite injury because he knows the rather desperate nature of the situation.
Free kick, Washington. Heinz Wirtz has movement to the goal mouth, puts it to the far side over the head of Jenkins. Quickly following up on the far side, and just, well, too casual to pass, really. And Cabanas up for Giorgio Chinaglia. Chinaglia drills the shot, missed short side. You can see Benny Dargo almost feel the pain as he tried to catch up to Chinaglia.
Yeah.
And with that side of his injured, there's no way he was going to catch even the old man Chinaglia.
Again, although he missed the actual goal, the fact that that ball was kept so low there was again a tribute to Chinaglia's skill. Sizzled over the AstroTurf there. Lethal looking shot.
Minute 55 remaining regulation time. 4-2. Cosmos leading Washington. Escuderian for Wim Rijsbergen. And Borja trying to save it, but failed as it went out of bounds off of him. Bradford, lob pass, looking for Mickelson, headed away. Jammed up, and the Diplomats come out with it. Chipped it wide on the near side. Waldron, the defender. Here's the cross to the hot box across the end line. Corner kick, Washington. That's the kind of pressure when everybody's up. Just dump it to that hot box.
I think probably tonight throughout, Heinz Wirtz has been our most consistent player in the team, and he's still pressing the team on at this stage. There's another corner the far side there that got him in a little bit of trouble.
Birkenmeier committed himself and was fortunate to get just the tip of his fingers on it. Had it gone clear over his fingers, he was way out of position. Now Bradford with the in-swinger.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups. For the Chicago Sting, the goalkeeper, number 1, Mervyn Corsten. The right back, number 2, Eddie Cliff. Centre back, number 4, Clive Griffiths. Centre back and captain, number 15, Alex Skatorek. Left back, number 3, John Webb. Midfielder, number 6, Jimmy Kelly. Midfielder, number 13, Benny Alone. Midfielder, number 8, Lammy Robertson. Right wing, number 7, Steve Peplow. Striker, number 9, John Lowy. And left wing, number 10, John Kowalik. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for the Cosmos. Number 5, captain and defender.